Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa, and I am the Crafty Author. And you guys already know that. So anyway, today, what we are going to talk about is something a little bit different than what we normally would. So normally we would be doing a big tutorial today because it's Friday. But since we have been doing so many tutorials, and we are working on the block of the month, I wanted to share a little secret with you. And the little secret that I have to share with you is, yes, you can quilt your own quilts by making your own quilt designs. And so today I am going to show you how I do the designs and how I come up with the designs that I put onto my quilts when I go to quilt them. And I think what you're going to find is that it's a whole lot easier than what you might actually think. So we're going to get started right now. All right. So there are a couple of ways that you can do this, okay? The first way, and probably the most common way that I do this, to be honest, is I like to do this when I'm just sitting upstairs watching a movie or watching TV or, you know, like The Blacklist, because that's like my favorite show ever. Anyway, just a little tidbit. So anyway, what I do, I like to just kind of doodle and stuff when I'm upstairs watching TV. And I want you to know that you don't have to be a fantastically great artist to do this, because Lord knows I am not, okay? I'm really, really not. My mom and my sister are far better at drawing than I ever possibly could be. So what we're looking at right here is my little planner, and you guys have all seen this because I've shared this before with you. But what I was trying to get to is this little, I just bought these little graph papers. They have little polka dots on them, and I get these at Michael's. These are the Happy Planners, and I get these because, well, I'm a paper junkie freak, and I like all things cute. So, you know, I'm surprised I don't have stickers and stuff on this already, because typically that's what would happen to this. But, yeah, no, I'm all over the place today. I have ADHD, I guess, today. I don't know. I feel like I'm really hyped up. And I have to go into work, and I actually have a really, really long seminar that I have to sit through today, but I'm actually excited about it. So, yay! All right, so anyway, I would grab a couple pieces of paper, and you can use any kind of paper. This is just what I do, because I told you I'm a freak about paper and my planners and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I'm probably giving you way too much information. I like to use a pencil, and the reason I like to use a pencil is because if I make a mistake, I can always erase it. Okay, when I'm using Sharpie pens, which I love, the fine point Sharpies, I can't erase those when I make a mistake. So I like to stick to pencil. I bought these pencils at, these are the Papermate pencils. I got them in a huge pack at Sam's Club, just because I needed pencils for the house. And so what I like to do is I start out. So for instance, let's do like a design that I did on one of the quilts, the baby quilts that I had shown you that I was quilting. I made a cowboy baby quilt, and it had, when I went to quilt it, stars and loops. So the first thing that I did before I ever put this down on a needle, you know, with needle and thread on the quilt, on the machine, because what you have to remember is when you're free motion quilting, you are basically drawing with a needle and thread. So the needle is your pencil, and the thread is the ink. That's how I think about it when I am free motion quilting. Okay, I hope that can help you, because that's a really nice visual to have in your mind. The other thing that I like to do when I'm free motion quilting is I like to turn on some music. And you can choose any kind of music that you want to listen to. You're gonna laugh, but I will turn on 80s music because I grew up in the 80s and I will forever and ever be an 80s girl. But for some reason, when I listen to Christopher Cross and Hall & Oates, boy, can I crank out a quilt. I do not know why, but the beat that goes along with those songs, I just get going in my groove and I'm just like, yeah, I can do this, okay? I know I sound like a crazy woman. I'm not. So anyway, I take my pencil and I'll just start doodling, you know, like I'll make a start, just like I was taught how in school. So I'll make a star and I'll come down and I'll loop, and then I make another star and I come around and I loop. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and I make tons and tons of mistakes, and I just keep going and looping. And then if I forget to make a star, I just loop and I loop and I loop, and sometimes I cross over and I loop. And this is why we practice before we do these things. I find that the looping is actually quite fun. But when you are looping in quilting, I'm going to show you my beautiful artwork here. See? It's just like drawing in school. When you're doing loops, though, when you're doing these little swirly things, you want to slow down as you come around these as you're making the rounded corner, because otherwise the stitching won't stay as even. And I know this because when I get around these loops, I tend to really want to speed up and just go wham. And then it, you know, I mean, it works out okay. It's just that the stitches aren't the same as everywhere else. They're just a little bit bigger. So no big deal, you know. So that's one way to do this, okay? The other way, or that's one pattern that I've done. I really like loops. Those are like my favorite. I'm not going to lie. The other thing that I've gotten really quite good at is straight line quilting. I'm pretty good at that. But I'm also really good at making the swirls. I'm getting better at that. When I first started, I was really, really terrible. So I started practicing on paper, just like what we're doing right now. And now you can see how my quilting is getting so much better with those C's, right? So what I've done here is I just took two pieces of a layer cake, sandwiched them in between some batting, and this is a practice piece. And I actually just kind of like it just like this, and I might actually end up making a quilt after I use these for practice. And these would just be my practice quilt sandwiches. Okay, so there's that. But I'm going to show you how I do it. And please, please understand, when I am quilting those C's, sometimes I get going and I'm just like, I don't know. I have to echo around them several times because sometimes I'm like, oh man, I forgot where I was going with this pattern. That happens to everybody. It's best if you work in quadrants. Okay, so if you look at your quilt and you look at it in fours, like that, you can quilt this portion, then you can move on and quilt this portion to this portion to this portion. I usually start in the middle and I work my way up, and then I just keep working around the quilt. It can be tricky. You have to practice, okay? You really, really have to practice. So for like this, I would start and I would make a C. And here comes Sophie, because, you know, we're talking about quilting. And I would just continue to make a C and a C. And then I start echoing because I like to echo and I think it makes it look way cooler. And then I continue that. Hi, you okay, Sophs? Oh, girl. What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter? Are you okay? You've been outside rolling. Yeah, you just want to be pet? Yeah, okay. So then I would just continue to just make my C's. And like, as you can see, I'm going around in the quadrants, and right here, I cut it real short. That happens in real life. Okay, I want you to know that this does happen, and it's okay. It is okay. You just continue down, and you just continue doing your design. Now, as you can see, mine looks kind of like crap because I haven't been practicing this. Usually before I quilt a quilt, I will work on my quilting drawings and stuff, my designs. I'll work on it for a couple of days just so I can kind of get the motions going, okay? But then you have something that turns out like that. And those are just C's, and that's just echoing around a C. You just, and I don't know if you could see the way I was doing it, but you're just drawing a C like that, and then you're coming up, and then you're just coming around, and you're doing another C, and you're just doing the same thing. If you wanted to, I don't know what she is doing. I'm going to switch to a pen to see if I can help you see this better. So if you wanted to, then you could take your pen. I'm going to use a pen to show you. You could do a C like that and a C like that. And then if you want to start adding stuff into it, you could do a C, you could do a loop and a C and a loop and a C and a loop and a C. And as you can see, you can start adding in all of these different variations to your quilting. It's just a matter of just sitting down and just practicing. And it's not going to look good the first couple of times you do it. This looks like crap. I wouldn't do this right now. But at some point, if I continue to work on this, I might actually do it. The other thing that I work on is flowers. So I also do a lot of free motion quilting with puzzle pieces. So that's called stippling. I call it puzzle pieces, and it's just where you're kind of going around and you're just randomly making these little odd shapes around your quilt. And they look really cool once they're done. That's a larger stippling. You can do it very small. I like to make flowers. I'm actually pretty talented at that when it comes to the quilting piece, but it does take some time to sit down and do it. And I don't have a piece of it because I actually gave it away. I can't believe I did that. Okay, so what I like to do is I will start with a circle, and then I come up and I make a point. And then I will come and do the same thing here. And I come and do the same thing here. This takes a little bit of practice. And as you can see, I just messed that one up. But you kind of get the point. And so if I was working on a bigger canvas, that flower would be, you know, much larger, of course. You can do butterflies. So a butterfly, how I do mine, just so you know, is I start and I just kind of make the little oval for the body. And then I do hearts kind of for the wings. And then you have a butterfly. You can do hearts and swirls. I've done this one many times. And this one is really kind of neat. It's just kind of an easy pattern to do, as you can see here. So that's what I like to do. I like to use pen, paper, And like I said, anybody can do it. And if you have any ideas, you should give them a try because they are amazing. Now, if you also have an iPad, I'm going to show you here something when I open this. This is actually a photo of sunflowers that I took on a walk that we went on in our neighborhood. It was gorgeous. So if you have an iPad, and it doesn't matter if you have a pencil or if you have just your finger, you can actually go into notes. You can create a new note, and you can sit down, choose the pen or your finger. Just come down to the right-hand corner and choose what you're going to use. And I want to make sure. Nope, that's too thin. I like to use a little thicker line. I probably should have done this to begin with, but then you can just come into your notes and you can practice drawing your quilt patterns here. You can save them. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. And as you can see, I mean, you guys can see this better on here. But you can use your iPad for that. So I just erased that one. Let's try another one. Let's try the stars. Maybe you'll be able to see this better. There's a star and a loop, a star and a loop, a loop, a star. And as you can see, I'm not being real careful about anything. I'm just and there you can see that. Utilize what you have. If it's easier for you to do this on an iPad or a tablet, it can be any tablet. Every tablet has a notes section. I don't know. I haven't tried this with my finger. Let's try it. So this is a new iPad for work, and this is a personal iPad that I have at home. And so this is a much older version. This does not have a pencil. This one wouldn't work. The other one wouldn't work because of the pencil. So this one I can use with my finger. So I'm going to show you. So if you have something like this, an older version that doesn't use a pencil or whatever, then watch. This is for you. So you use your finger and you loop. You use your finger and you loop. And you just keep going. So see, you can also do that with your finger. You can practice. So the moral of the story here is you can utilize a lot of things that you have. You can utilize paper, pen, pencil. You can utilize an iPad with a pencil. You can utilize an iPad without a pencil. You can use any tablet. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Use what you have. Go into that notes section and just play. What you're trying to do is get the sense of the motion, okay? And then once you kind of have this down, then sit down with like a quilt sandwich, like what I showed you here. Put it underneath your needle and start trying to do that. Start playing with these designs. And then you'll be ready soon, before you know it, to start using that to quilt your own quilts, to free motion. And I know it seems very, very intimidating. It really can feel intimidating. But the only way to do it is to practice and to just do it. Are you going to fail at it the first couple of times? Probably. It's not going to turn out absolutely perfect. And I have news for you. Nobody's free motion quilting is absolutely perfect. No one's. Doesn't matter how long they've been quilting. They can get darn near close to it. You know, everything being just perfect, perfect, perfect and whatnot. but nobody's stuff is perfect. And do not be hard on yourself, because doing it is better than not doing it. And don't let anybody criticize you or tell you any differently. That is my advice for the day. Okay? I know it can be discouraging. Don't listen to other people. Just don't. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself. You've got this. You've got this. And I am here to tell you, I am behind you 100%. So, there's that. That is it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed this. I know I enjoyed it because, you know, I think sometimes we all just want to know, how do you do this? And this is how. Well, at least this is how I do it. This is the way to start. So, that's it for me today. I am off to work. And if you would like to follow me on social media, I would love to have you over there. The links are down below in the description box. If you make any purchases through any of the links down below in this video or description box, I do make a small commission, and all money that is received does go to help this channel grow. Helps me to buy new equipment, helps me to buy supplies and whatnot. So I do appreciate everything that you do to help me out. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share it, because sharing is caring. And do not forget to subscribe. Oh, I love subscribers. So, if you click that little bell, you will get notified each and every time I upload a new video. That is it. Keep on crafting. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.